Hey y'all, welcome to Moments with Missy. If you are new here and if you've been rocking with me for a while, welcome back. Today we are jumping into review of day 70 of our Bible reading challenge. If you're new, you can access the free resources in the description box below. And I encourage you to join me so that you can begin to grow in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of God's word for your life's journey. And if you strayed away from your faith and you are finding your way back, I encourage you to join me as well so that you can begin to grow and increase knowledge, wisdom, and understanding for this go around. And you all can just start wherever you are. God will literally meet you wherever you are. So join me by clicking the subscribe button and let's jump right in and get started. So the scriptures for day 70 came from Numbers chapter 34, chapter 35, and chapter 36. I did have a standout today that came from Numbers chapter 34, verse 1 through 2. And my takeaway for day 70 is, based on today's reading, God is saying to me, boundaries are necessary. And that standout verses came from Numbers chapter 34, verses 1 through 2. And that reads, "The Lord said to Moses, command the Israelites and say to them, when you enter Canaan, the land that will be allotted to you as an inheritance is to have these boundaries." And so following that verse, God begins to tell Moses each area that is supposed to be allotted to each leader from each tribe of the Israelites. And so with that, he's making assertion that only these certain areas are the inheritance of, let's say, the Levites. Only these certain areas are the inheritance of the land for this tribe. So even down to the towns, I know that the Levites were given like their own town. And then they spoke about some of the daughters of one of the Israelites whose father had passed, but he had only daughters. He did not have any sons. So there's discussion about the boundaries of the inheritance not being passed along into another tribe of the Israelites, and it stand in that one tribe so that it could cycle forth for their generations to come. And so the fact that boundaries are necessary really stood out to me. And when you think about it in our lives, if we don't set boundaries for things that we don't want to be trampled over, to be misused, to be abused, it leaves an open space for anyone to come in and do as they please. Myself, personally, I know as an adult, up into a certain point in age, I did not know boundaries. I did not understand boundaries to set them for myself. And that caused a lot of things to happen in my life. So when you think about with the Israelites, if God had not asserted to them these boundaries of what was theirs and what was not theirs, it would have left an open space for other Israelites to misuse and abuse their land, misuse and abuse their property, to cause any type of chaos or destruction upon the land that was inherited to them and given to them by God. And even with the passing along of a certain inheritance for a certain tribe, if that had leaked out into other tribes, there wouldn't have been that sacred sense of this is a representation of our family, our culture, what we've done and what we've accomplished on the earth. And so I just want to leave you all today with a takeaway of, if you don't know boundaries, begin to learn and understand them for yourself. Try to understand what parameters you need to place in your life so that there's not destruction, so there's not a chance of people coming in your life and causing chaos or misusing and abusing you, whether it be in your job, in your business, working with coworkers, whether it be with your children, so that you are able to have some sense of mental peace and self-care with your spouse for the same, to have some sort of mental peace and self-care with yourself. There's a need to set boundaries with yourself, because sometimes we misuse and abuse ourselves in your home. Setting boundaries in your home. What will you allow and not allow people to do in your home? Because if you allow people to just come in and do anything, then your space will be misused and abused, and your peace will be disrupted. In your relationships with your parents, in your relationships with your siblings, your other relatives, there's a need to have boundaries in place. It's necessary, and God shows us that through these scriptures when he provides to Moses the facts of boundaries needed in the land, so that each tribe of the Israelites have their own space. But that's it for my takeaway, you all. I hope you all be blessed. Until the next video for day 71. Peace and love.